good trip?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry we couldn't make it yesterday.
Yeah. If you bring more, we may go burst. If you bring more food, we already have a lot. So if you may go. So,
yeah. So maybe you can say, hi, Cindy La. Maybe you can say a few words about your trip.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say a few words about your trip.
A few words for a trip. Yeah. I went to India.
You came back. You came back, and that was it.
Yeah, there's nothing much to talk about. So
Okay.
Delhi, first arrived in Delhi, then went to Dharamsala, then back to Bodh Gaya. And most of the days I stays in Bodh Gaya and coming back from Delhi. It's the longest period of time, like almost like over a month I stayed in Bodh Gaya. Yeah. It's very good. Yeah, but during my stay,
where did you stay in Bodh Gaya? Did you stay in a monastery or where?
The monastery hotel. Yeah. So
that means they support the gas?
Yeah.
So did His Holiness teach this period?
Yeah, he's always teachings like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, during my stay, it's always crowded, so many people. And there's a Nyingma puja going on for almost like 4 days or 5 days something. And before they're preparing and decorating and took many days, and every day there's too many people. So we went for the circumambulations and just pushing each other. Yeah. There's so many. Always during the winter, there's always crowded. In the summer times, almost some, I think, pilgrimage from South India. People who live in hot place, so they come to visit in the summertime.
So it's cooler in Bodh Gaya.
Yeah, during the winter, yeah, it's very cold.
So were you cold?
Yeah. When it get cold, I'm cold. When it get hot, I'm hot. But in the hotel, it's very convenient. Yeah.
So did you see your family and many old friends?
Oh, they all came to the Bodh Gaya, so I really didn't need to go there. So they all came to Bodh Gaya for His Holiness teachings, and they've been pilgrimage, Walchapik, Nalanda, Varanasi. It's a good time. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Dhamma jumden den di jin she ba da jomba yang da ba zo be san je ri ba da sha so de re je ba ji den jamba ji won de be ka mo ji ba na nam be ba ta da me nam je den ba san je jumden be ja wa ja ja do ba la sa se mo jo do ja so je mo dhamma jumden den di jin she ba da yang da ba zo be san je ri ba da sha so de re she ba ji den jamba ji won Kalo Juba Lana Mewa Hadam Menam Jedamba Sanjay Chunde de Bejawa Shaja Chazeno Jono Jazo Jevo Demba Jumden de Jinshaban Rajuma Yadama Rivada Jazon Demba Devareshaba Jiden Jema Jevo Debe Kalo Jema Hada Menanje Demba Sanje Jumden Debe Java Shaja Tubala Chazi Shodo Jazo Jevo Kaze Ganyo Zovo Jadamse Sajen Denga Manen Jiden Dena Chojezo Dezekema Jona Chaze Namda Kuma Jodu Ishinjazo Sergio Gomora Tabanji Den Sundama Chuni Juma Chaze Senjon Dembati Menda Veshi Sendon Rawa Jona Chaze Dure Chenda Siva Sumach Nyame Jenjen Jona Chaze Gombutuji Chedemba Tamji Kemba Demba Sonamino de Jazu Dijin Jala Chaze Taben de Jatewa Giving Son Leduji Chilu de Nuju Shinju Jona Chaze Trend Travel Lava Tama the Shinga Tamba Yed Gendolaya Chaze Diva Jaya Meja Jengava Puzu Zoba Similar Tene Sanje Temba Yagama Rari Mamet Jumaseva Chubruda Minam Mona Tinda Dije Janum Dedata Sonam Dia Tamje Seva Yukovan Kijinda Gata Nata Chivala Siveson and one over show.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one of God, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, solitary conduct, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya land, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya land, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When supreme among humans, you were born on this earth. You paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, but the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the flow of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jabon Sanje Janana Chanjo Bado Nane Jazu Nage Jazu Jebe Lola Benja Sanje Joba Shuva Sanje Chana Sojo Chanana Chanjo Bado Nane Jazu Nagin Jesu Jiba Sonam Jen, Dola Benja Sanjan Dubushua, Sanjusha, Sojusha, Chanju Badu Dani Jazu Jen, Nagi Jesu Jiba Sonam Jen, Dola Benja Sanjan Dubushua.
I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Lama, and the Sangha. Through the merit created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Kede Pumba Dayana, Jadan Juba, Chanoju, Kede Pumba Namajan, Pumba Sinimu, Danya Yuba Mayana, Dagi Yuba Kalan, Dada Dagi Shiva, Maziman Zime, Maziman Zimeka, Yuba Mayan, Maziman Zimeka, Tagaton, Dada Shiranjana, Dada Davinyamsana, Yawana Pagashi, the Simba, the Javase, Ledan Yumaseva, Ledan Yumana, Tatu, Tomani, Dawaji, Dawaji, Sanje and Namande and the American Major, Jobber the Simi, Majaba, Chinin and the Zuma, Shanajim, Jivano, Giovanna, Jimodriva, the Senior to come out in the Tenerigit in Yuma, then the Shama, Sanje Jetan, Temple to Juba. Tunjimanya Tadime, Chabamanya Tamanya, Sanja Yaduno Jessica, Razanji, Jina Damba Miller, Dada Chuyata, Sheshapa, Chuki, Hangia doors in Yerazon, Dada Japan, Vision, Quadamandela, Charles. So, yeah, I think we're in the page 204. So I think from the beginning, Chandrakirti is trying to explain that so the costs, the actual cost and the condition for so it's kind of like what is the actual cause and the condition for peace or the happiness. So in non-Buddhist school, the kind of happiness or the peace, the moksha, or the happiness is something has to be granted by the God or the creators. So Chandrakirti is from the beginning is mentioned that now, so kind of he specifically pay homage first to the compassion, not even the Buddha. Before the Buddha, before the Arhat and the Bodhisattvas, he paying homage to the compassions. So that kind of implies that the actual cause of the peace that you're seeking is kind of the driven by the compassion, sense of compassion, sense of renunciations, that it causes the condition that you have to established within your mind. That is the actual cause of the condition for your own desirable the peace or the happiness. So not the creator or the Bhagavan who granted to you. So, and also Naga Buddhas, and he also mentions your liberations, your peace and happiness is not held by someone else, or nor that is your peace and happiness is given to you by someone else. And then, and how do you really go about the making possible of the happiness and the peace for yourself? Knowing your own, knowing yourself is the way to attain the kind of liberation or enlightenment or any kind of, even for the higher rebirth and next life. It's all done by yourself. So I think this is why from the kind of Four Noble Truth teachings, and Buddha always mentions, you are your own masters. You are your own enemies. By subduing yourself, and you may find peace. Right. So I think that's that's he's trying to explain because why he pay homage first, compassions, not for the Buddha, not even the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. And Chandrakirti also means that by paying homage to the compassions, indirectly you have paid homage to the Arhat and Bodhisattvas and the Buddha, right? Because they're all originated by the great compassions. So Arhats, the Arhat, Sharvaka or Pratika Buddhas, they're all born from the compassion of the Buddha. And the Bodhisattvas, their Bodhisattvas are all generated or produced by their own great compassions. So the Buddha becoming Buddha and completing his path is also due to the compassions. And once you become the Buddha and his teachings, that is skillful means all the good qualities in his teaching are due to the compassion. So the compassion is the seed. Compassion is act like a fertilizer. Compassion is like a ripening fruit. So that's why the Chandrakirti is from the beginning paying homage to the compassion. So and then the still we have very innate the ambiguity. So we always think, what is the real cause and conditions? Right? It keep coming in our mind again and again, that the doubt or the desire, the ambiguities. Maybe the Buddha, maybe the Bodhisattvas, maybe the Avalokiteshvara, maybe Tara, maybe the Ishvara. So we always think that. And then talk about the four conditions. Buddha says, Nagarjuna says about the four conditions, there's no fifth conditions. The four conditions, causal conditions, objective conditions, immediately preceding conditions, and then the causal conditions, objective condition, immediately preceding conditions, and the there's four conditions. And then if there is a fifth conditions, that might be fifth conditions referring to the so something that different from you, like finding the barley seed as a cause for the rice sprout, onion, right? From the onion seeking orange, from banana seeking lemons. So these are the fifth condition. So if there is no fifth condition, there is the God or the Creator. It is not the the condition that is giving you the peace, right? So fifth conditions is rejected, refuted, and then now, and also we have some kind of thought. Maybe there's something that things that produce, things that arises by itself, or self-generated effect, or the things that are produced by others. Things can be produced from self and others, both. Things may produce without a cause. So the four chronologies refuting the four possibility of self-arising is not, not possible, and being produced from other is not possible. Being produced from self and others are also not possible. Being produced without a cause is not possible. So self-arising means independent effect. So self-arising means independent effect. So independent means, not dependent. So anything that being produced, anything that being arises, always dependent, depending on the cause and the conditions, the causal conditions, and then the corporate conditions, causal condition and corporate conditions. So nothing, no effect is independent. No effect is self-generated, right? So there are many kind of masters who really believe that there must be self-generated, or there must be objective cause, independent cause for the peace, for the existing of yourself. So, and sometimes the non-Buddhists, some of the master, they says anger, attachments are cause for the suffering, but these anger and attachments are produced by the independent cause. The independent cause, which is referring to, this is every human being, we have the cause, the seed of the jaundice, seed of the flame, and the seed of what's the wind, right? I don't know what's called in there. Yeah, so anyway, the jaundice is the cause for the anger, flame is the cause for the attachment, wind is the cause for the ignorance. So if you cannot get rid of these three that from the beginning it existing within the human being, so there's no way you can abandon the afflictive emotions. And these three are also rooted into the heat and cold. The heat and cold is not a subject to abandon. So if you heat and cold is abandoned or destroyed, you cannot exist. So there's a lot of argument back and forth, and even in the Chandrakirti's text. So here we are, Buddhists, and particularly Prasangika school, believes that all the afflictive emotions is not, there's a corporate condition and a substantial cause. The substantial cause, or the principal cause for the afflictive emotion, is misconception, not the heat, not the jaundice, not the flame, right? So all the afflictive emotions rooted in ignorance, misconceptions. Misconceptions means exaggerations, and denialisms, right? Denying the things that you cannot see, things that you cannot perceive, things not obvious to you, and then you deny things. So the misconceptions is the origin of the afflictive emotions. So misconceptions is a perception. It is the wrong perceptions. Anything that wrong perception have the antidote, right? By generating the right perceptions to overcome or remove the misconceptions within the mind. So the mind can achieve, the freedom from the afflictive emotions. So when it comes to the corporate condition, yes, corporate condition for the anger can be done by physical pain, mental, the unpleasant state of mind, and then also can be caused by the noise, but these are not substantial cause, right? Yeah, non-Buddhist school, they sometime in the Bhagavad Gita, when you listen about the Bhagavad Gita or read the Bhagavad Gitas, and the Krishna always says, I am the one, I'm the only one, right? The cause of your death, cause your birth, and the cause where you was kind of, going down to the helldom, the cause of the high rebirth. I am the only single cause. So the rest, even this is Lord of the Dead, it's just temporarily. It's just mediate, right? It's just excuse. And I am the main principal cause who deciding so what to do with you. So and the ayah there says, no, like Krishna claims that he is the only one, the cause for the happiness and the suffering. And then ayah there says, your actions, your time is the cause for the death of yourself. So, and the Lord of the death is no different from your time. And if there is a cause that can send you in the hell realm, that is your actions. If there is the cause that it can propel you in the higher rebirth or the lower rebirth, is your actions. So you are your own cause. So not the Krishna, not the Shiva. So yeah, refuting arising from others. So you remember the same page this year?
It's 204.
Yeah, 204, right? Refuting arising from others. We have already done refuting self-arising or self-generating. So this has two parts, stating the opponent's standpoint and refuting that standpoint. So there are many kind of Buddhist school thoughts who still believe that cause and effect are different. Seed and sprout are physically different. So with regarding the size and the colors, taste, and everything is different. Therefore, the seed and sprout and cause and effect are two different things. So here the Prasangic schools refuting the cause and effects are no different. So if just because of the size of the seed and the color of the seed is a different from the color of the seed and the size of the color of the sprout and the size of the sprout, and you may think that, so you can argue that yourself right now must be different from your childhood because all these physicals, and then the the physical level, mental levels, all different. So right now and your 10 years before or 20 years before, right? So all different. So if you because of that, if you think that you are different from your childhood, right? And then the criminals, so who can still claim that I am different from what someone who has committed the crime. Yesterday, one who has committed the crime is not me. I am different person. So that really kind of makes if everybody accept that, and you cannot catch any criminal, so because they are all different, right? So the Prasangic school says the seed and sprout are no different. Yourself, today yourself is no different from yesterday yourself. So, and then what do you mean by no different? Different means different in the sense that I can see this table, the two kind of tables, as I see is different physically. And presently, they both are different, physically different, right? And then like apple and orange, they're different. So in this way, you cannot find yourself today and yesterday are different. And seed and sprout is also not different like apple and orange. So if you argue that if there's no difference, and why you call one is the cause, one is the effect. So so this is like night and day. So last night and this morning, right, is not physically different. Is no different, but one called night, one called day, right? So 9 o'clock and the 10 o'clock. So Saturday and the Sunday. So if the Sunday and the Saturday are different, like apple and orange, so you can still go back to Saturday. So Sunday is not comfortable, so I go back to Saturdays, right? So the Prasangic school says the seed and sprout are no different, cause and effect are no different, but still insist that many of the within the Buddhist school of thought, they says it is different. So, and who are those Buddhist school of thought? The Buddhist essentialist schools assert the following: since arising from self would be pointless. So this is, I can understand the self arising is not really making sense to them, but self arising is untenable, and since that does not exist, arising from combination of both self and other is also untenable. So this, they're kind of, if self arising is not not tenable, and both the combination of the self and other is also untenable. But still, there's the born from other is still making sense to them. And what is that now here? Also untenable. As for arising from no cause, so this is utterly, deplorable, right? Deplorable, yeah. And deserve to be rejected. However, arising from other cannot be rejected. Arising from other cannot be, if single out arising from others, and then arising from other is kind of, it making sense. Yeah. As done so in the line, how from something others. And furthermore, because the scriptures stated that the four conditions intrinsically distinct from their effect are the cause that produce things, the cause effect. And one has no choice but to accept arising from others, because the cause and the effect is different. There's a different name, different quality, size. As to what these four conditions are, some schools assert that following the term causal conditions refer to the 5 out of 6 causes. So this is the Swatantrika school. Excluding active cause, they call in Tibetan we call chegyu, active cause. As stated in the line from the treasury of Abhidhamma, that what is called cause refer to the 5 cause. Objective conditions is as found in the line. Objective conditions include all phenomena. So there's all phenomena that are object of 6 consciousness. So this school believing that objective condition means everything is objective conditions, right? Seen or unseen, something that exists, something that can be perceived by the consciousness, something that's noble object to the consciousness are objective conditions. So it's not a Prasangic school. 6 consciousness, how's that? And the antecedent conditions is as found in the line, the mind and the derived factors that have arisen, their final instance, not of the same kind, is the immediately proceedings, meaning all the mind and mental factors that have arisen prior to the entering the nirvana without residue. So now this schools, essentially schools, asserting that all the objects are the objective conditions, the antecedent conditions. Antecedent condition means the preceding conditions. Like, for example, the eye to cognize the color, eye to cognize the colors. The prior to that, when your mind is focusing on sound, so the end of that mind focusing on the sound is the cessation of that consciousness, is the condition for the eye consciousness to focus on the color, right? So antecedent condition means the end of the prior conditions is immediately preceding conditions.
Is that the view of this school? Or this is...
It's not a Prasangic school.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not Prasangic school. Now here, it's very subtle because this Swatantrika school and the Vibhashika school thinks that the cessation of the end of the prior consciousness, it becomes the condition for the subsequent consciousness, right? So the end of that, the cessation of the prior consciousness is antecedent condition, right? In a Prasangic school, in that case, the cessation of the seed has to be cause for the sprout. Now the sprout has to born from the cessation of the seed. So which means sprout has to born from non-seed. So if the sprout born from the non-seed, so why not sprout born from no seed? In that case, the sprout has to born from no cause. So so having said that, in the Prasangika school, there's a more little bit. There's a tricky the cessations, right? Because to the other school, for the Sulandika school, the Bhavashika school, cessation of the seed, or the end of seed, means it's non-existing for them, right? No seed. The absence of seed is the cessation. And the Prasangika school, the cessation of the seed is not a non-existing. It's not a non-existing of the seed. It is not a non-existing. So death of my previous life is, in the Prasangika school, it is not a non-existing. Right? The death of my previous life is continuity of this life. Right? So this is really kind of profoundly kind of misunderstood, and within the Buddhist school and even the non-Buddhist school, impermanence, they always think that impermanence means to them is non-existing, no more existing. In the Prasangika school, impermanent is the disintegrations, is the cessations, it is the destructions, but still should be considered as existing. Like my action that has committed yesterday, today is no longer exist, but still doesn't count. That action that you have committed is non-existing. It is not exist yet, but it's not a non-existing. Because it is not a non-existing, it will generate the result. It will produce the result. So something that proving that existing of itself, how can that be known as a non-existing? So the impermanence in the Prasangika school, impermanence is a continuity. Impermanence means constant disintegrating. Impermanence means constant changing. So impermanence is not non-existing. Impermanent is constantly disintegrating. So impermanent means constantly changing. Constantly changing means constantly existing. So our existing in samsara, it cannot be stopped unless you have unless you get rid of the ignorance. How many times you die, that cannot, right, make you non-existing. That death is not the so that is not the reason that make you not exist. Death is making you exist again and again. Right? So I think this is really because the interpretations, the impermanence, even within the Buddhist school, they always kind of tend to falls in kind of saying, oh, impermanence or no exist. Disintegrated means no longer exist, no more existing. Right? So For example, if every minute, the disintegration of the minute are non-existing, and that cannot make the hour. So hour is a consist of the 60 minute. Minute is constantly disintegrating, right? Changing. So there's no possible of consist of the 60 minute. So minute disintegrate, that makes existing of the next minute. That disintegration of that next minute is making existing of the third minute, like that, right? So each minute that has disintegrated in the past is not the, not the reason that kind of non-existing of it. So so Shiva, so in Tibetan, in the Prasangic school, this is very in the Prasangic school, this is very unique assertions. Death and disintegration are phenomena. It is the thing. It is not a non-thing. It is the thing. So, so once here the argument is the Siddhantic school and the Vaibhashika school and the minority school, if they think the end of the prior consciousness, the air consciousness is the condition, immediately preceding condition for the eye consciousness, the perceiving or experiencing the color. So, and then when we ask the questions, what is what is that the end of the prior consciousness? So the end of the prior consciousness is a product or non-product, and they would say it's a non-product. It's not a product. It's not a thing. So then, automatically says, if that is a non-thing, how can the eye consciousness that experiencing color is born from non-thing? It seems like in the Prasangic school, from the Prasangic school point of view, even the Siddhantic school, the Vaibhashika school, the follower of the Buddha, Four Noble Truths, they still don't really understand exact meaning of impermanence. They still don't understand the change. So according to the Prasangic school, but they, so they say, oh, we know the impermanence, right? So I think this is even in the ordinary, mundane, the interpretation of impermanence or the disintegration or distractions. Mundanely, we interpret that as a non-existing of that thing. So destructions of the house, right? Ruin of the house, destruction of the house, or the cessation of the today's Sunday, right? Cessation of the Saturday. So we all tend to believe, think that these are non-existing of the Saturday. Destruction of the house is non-existing of the house. So non-existing of the house is non-existing. So if this is non-existing, how this motivates you to build another house? So yeah, so why I'm saying this is because in the later on, the Prasangic would say immediately, so how's that? Antecedent conditions or immediately preceding conditions. They would say, they sprout the the cessation of the seed is antecedent condition for the sprout. Right. So death of my previous life. So right, right before my birth that has disintegrated is the immediately preceding condition for my new birth. So that so the immediate preceding conditions means something caused you to be manifest again. Something caused you to be arise again. So right before the birth of yourself is the existing of the previous life that is ready to end. So that is the immediately preceding condition for the new rebirth. So, and if you think that, so just before the birth is still alive. So alive means it is a thing. So if that's the immediately preceding conditions, so it is possible in between previous life and the new birth, there is the end of life. No, there is no gap. Right? There is no gap. So this is why the end of the previous life is not a non-existing. So and antecedent conditions, as found in the line, the mind and the derived factors. Mind and the derived factors, the mind refers to the principle of consciousness, like I consciousness, and then derived consciousness or consciousness of the derived factors are feeling and discrimination awareness, and then the concentrations, and then wisdom that is right or wrongs. So these are the derived factors. When you focus on the color, and there is attachment, there is the feeling, there is the contact, there is the discrimination awareness. This is right. This color or the color of the flower is beautiful than the previous one, or this is the right one. So these are mental factors called derived factors.
Derived.
Yeah.
So there's mind is initial one and mental factors.
Yeah. The semi-true ones. When you perceive something, right, and immediately that drives the feeling, discrimination awareness, all all at the same time, right? So mental factor means derived factors, right? The mind, it means it's a kind of the main consciousness that is focusing on the perceiving or engaging on the color or the smell or taste or tactilities.
And that's specifically defined that way here, or is it mind usually contains both mental factors?
Yeah, mind always, they contain so many mental factors. So, it's the the virtuous mind and non-virtuous mind, and why the virtuous mind is, has the quality of overpowering on the non-virtuous mind. So this is because there are many more mental factors in the virtuous mind, and there is less mental factors in non-virtuous mind. And how then the non-virtuous mind is so powerful. So then says, not because of the mental factors, because of the habit. The habit of the non-virtuous mind is so powerful. It's hard to get rid of them, how to stop. So if from the beginning the virtuous mind has no quality, by strengthening it, has the quality of power of overcoming or remedy to the non-virtuous mind, then we have to kind of there must be, then it means that non-virtuous has to be habitude. Virtuous mind has to habitude in order to become the powerful enough to overcome the non-virtuous mind. So here the saying, non-virtuous mind has already have so many qualities, so many mental factors. It has enough power, but you haven't familiarized with that. It's become a, what sometimes we call so new bride in the family. So she's so beautiful, she's very pleasant, but she has no power. So because the father, mothers, brothers, sisters, they're kind of long stayed in their family, so they have more power. So it's like the mental factors that have arisen prior to the entering nirvana. So this is the what they think. The Sotadic school in Wabashik school, they believe that once the entry in the nirvana, right? So nirvanas, and especially the parinirvana. So parinirvana is arhat being when they pass away, and then it will discontinue the mind and the mental factors. So right before the arhat entering in the parinirvana, those mental factors has no continuum. So why they're saying says the other than this, none has a the arhat entering into nirvana without residue means that they do not have any continuity of the mind and the mental factors. So the final mind and mental factors are not has the antecedent, right? Mm-hmm. Antecedent conscious. There's no continuum. So this is their own kind of their own thinking, their own in the Prasangika school, and there is you can if you think carefully think that all the wrong perception has the antidote, right? So wrong perception, right perception is the antidote of the wrong perceptions. So increasing the right perceptions that can help you to stop the wrong perception. But there is no antidote for the consciousness. So there is no antidote to stop the consciousness to manifest. So how can you think that arhat with residue when they pass away, what makes their the manifestation of the consciousness for the next life? So wrong perception has antidote, but the consciousness generally has no antidote. So death is not the cause. Death is not the cause to stop the consciousness. Right? And wisdom realizing emptiness is also has no quality or no power to stop the consciousness. So I think, and because if they say is because in the sutra it mentions the arhat, there's a with residue and a without residue. So without residue, and if you think that without residue means no continuity of the consciousness and the mental factors, and that and how do they understood this from the sutra? Sutra, and there's it's previously we already read this Sutra this says, so the arhat, who's who pass parinirvana. This is once the sentient beings or the samsaric being attain the nirvana, which means it's end of like bodyland. So that's really interpreted in no discontinuity of the consciousness and mental factors. So the Prasangika school says it's like the end of the bodyland. End of the bodyland means what makes the flame in the bodyland is because of the wick and then the oils. The end of the oil, end of the wick is the cause for the end of the bodyland. So similarly, samsaric being, when they attain the liberations, so wisdom realizing emptiness is destroying the afflictive emotions and the seed of the afflictive emotions. So by that, it ends the samsaric, right? So the lamb of the samsaric is ended. It's not because there is no consciousness, no mental factors. So many of the follow of this Siddhantika school and Vaibhashika school, and they particularly Theravada, some of the Theravada, not all Theravada, they kind of they like depicted the Buddhas is in the parinirvana. So that means this is the final achievement. So they are afraid when there is a consciousness, when they are awake, they may generate afflictive emotions. So so they permanently close their eyes. So the perceiving and experiencing is not the cause for the afflictive emotions. So without residue, the dominant conditions is the active causes. So they count 6 causes. So one of that is dominant condition, darwinians. Dominant condition is active cause. Is it dominant condition means like eye sense power, nose sense power, the air sense powers as dominant conditions, because each consciousness named after the faculties, eye consciousness. Right? So active causes, as stated in the lines, what is called active causes is the dominant conditions. So the 6 causes are, as the Treasure Abhidhamma says, active cause and simultaneous. Active cause, simultaneous cause, as a homogeneous cause, and the concomitant cause. So homogeneous, so the Vaibhashika school thinks that, for example, if there's a vase, so every particle in that vase is helping each other, causing each other, the sustain. So they call every particle in the one particular part is homogeneous causes. Right? So each particle helps other particle to sustain. So the cause and the condition in Vaibhashika school can be simultaneous. So in this computer, every part of the computers, the kind of the presently existing with the computer are kind of mutual homogeneous cause. So and the Cheju Tenji Chungwata. Cheju Tenji Chungwata.
what does this mean? Mutual homogeneous cause. The cause, it seems homogeneous, suggests that all the causes are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's no difference in cause.
Yeah, is in the homogeneous is the Kevanyamba means is the same type or same situations. So again, there's another the idea, the concept is homogeneous. Homogeneous means if I born right now as a human being, so but human the kind of my virtues and the kind of the actions, if the virtuous action cause another next human being human life, so this cause is called the homogeneous cause is the same. So if my actions propel me in the different type sentient beings, like animal, so human to the animals, so it's not the what call homogeneous.
Yeah.
Homogeneous, not homogeneous.
Homogeneous.
Yeah, it's the same type, right? Kewanyamas, kenyamas, right? So simultaneous, and the Wabashika school, they understand simultaneous. Wabashika believes that, right now, every part of your bodies are simultaneous cause, is helping each other, causing each other, body to the mind to the body. So the Wabashika school, they are understanding cause and effect, and not necessarily in the order. They don't have to be in order. They can be simultaneous and producing each other. So the homogeneous means now at the same type. So non-virtuous actions in human being will produce. So how's that? Not the same type of the sentient beings. Sometimes you can see those, so if you think about the same type means like a venom has the condition to destroy the life. But when it goes with another chemical, it can be conditioned for the sustaining the life, right? So you can, because there is no independent, so it can, when it cooperates with another cosmic conditions, it will change. The cost is change. So then it changed into, before it was kind of caused with destroying the life, now it becomes this sustaining the life.
I mean, it kind of sounds contradictory to me because if you use the word homogeneous, it almost implies to me there's a single condition, say a single cause and condition. Like you say, leading one life to another as a human being. But it seems to almost exclude cooperative causes and conditions. Because if it's homogeneous, they're all the same. There's nothing cooperative.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be cooperative. They're all the same. Homogeneous means consistently the same.
So right now, so they can be, like for example, the wind elements in my body and water elements in my body in one aspect, you can see there's homogeneous because the wind and the waters, because of the wind, the air continues breathing in and out. That keeps the heat in the body. That keeps the blood that flows in the body. So if you within the element themselves, sometimes they act like enemy. So the wind can cause to destroying the water element. Too much wind can be destroy the water element. Too much wind can be cause for the destruction of the heat element. Now heat is also too much, and that also destroy the wind element. But so this is like how you see that. If you think about to sustain the life, to prolong the life, and from that point of view, the elements in your body are the homogeneous. They are cooperative. So they are cooperative, and if you go a little bit, further, more kind of closer, and again you can also find they are contradicting. So because of their contradictions, there is the possibility of the death in any time. By prolonging the life, yes, without these each elements, you cannot be survived. You cannot be alive.
It's kind of like homogenized.
Yeah.
Like homogenized milk. That's what I think. When that happens, I don't know how it works, but I thought it becomes plain or safe or equal, like overall.
Yeah, the homogeneous and the Republicans. You see, so yeah, they are very brought together at the same time. They're fighting each other. So that really protects the party with the homogeneous. So everything is like that, like the husband and wife. So they homogeneously, they're together. Individually, they find it different. So I'm not the same as you. So this is like that. This is the kind of, it's very nature of the, living in suffering condition, right? In the police and the criminals. So homogeneously, criminal that really, give you the the possible of So if there's no criminal, the police cannot get any salary or any kind of fund. So, but police is, and the coming after the criminal.
The one that's confusing me, or somewhat, is concomitant. I've never heard that word before.
Yeah.
And I tried to look it up, and it tried to say it was something like when we have the number 1, it's like how we think of the letter A, how they're like different, but they're similar.
Letter A?
Like how when we think of the letter 1, the first letter of the alphabet is A.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand that.
True.
Like what that concomitant in here. I'm not sure what the Tibetan word translation
so
is.
I think there's the similarities in homogeneous and concomitant.
Oh,
they're similar, because the homogeneous means something that cooperate, something that is sustaining each other.
Right.
So concomitance means look alike. Right. It did not really specify specific when saying that they are sustaining each other. They said, oh, the same type, right? Like the dog, or the puppy from the dog, the elephant elephant baby from the elephants. There's the same kind of same type. So the homogeneous means it's not just similar, it's just sustaining, cooperating each other. So Tsumbar Dhamma means that like. So here the arhat's mind, the arhat who is with residue. So that the end of their final consciousness, final mind, final the matter factors is now saying is not a concomitance because there is no similar conscious after it. Because that is the end, the final of the consciousness to exist. So without residue, there is no consciousness, there is no mind, there's no mental factors. So the final consciousness are not a concomitant, right? So this is the how they interpret it from the sutras. The sutra says, Nirvana is the end of the body limits. So end of the body limits, they interpreted that, end of the consciousness. So the arhat means, nirvana means end of the consciousness. There's no consciousness. So the Prasangika school says the end of the Buddha's, use the end of the body lamp means body lamp is continuously burning, right, until the total exhaustion of the wick and the butter. So similarly, the delusions and the actions. So actions like a wick, delusions like butter, that continuously, flame the kind of samsaric the samsaric flame. So when the arhat, when the samsara being entering in the nirvana, so that ends the kind of karma and afflictive emotions. So sutra did not really mean that the nirvana without residue has no consciousness. Yeah, sometimes people may really kind of want to think, and they want to interpret an end of consciousness. That also implying that they are very too tired of being kind of being consciousness. They may look like they are wishing to be no consciousness.
Well, arhats, there's non-returning arhats, right? They're not all non-returning. Or they're so-called non-returning arhats.
Yeah, non-returning is not an arhat.
Oh?
Is a noble being. Is a noble being is not an arhat. So non-returning means who has the noble being, who has so overcome or eliminate the desirums afflictive emotions. So, but still have, type of afflictive emotions that can continues to propel in a form and formless life. So non-returning is not returning back to the desire. Is a noble being, is not arhat. Arhat means not returning at all in the three realms. Because to born in the three realms, has to generate or produce by the karma and the afflictive emotions. So when they end the afflictive emotions, and there is no way coming back to the samsara or the three realms. So now this is also one of the, there's a little bit what called bargaining. So this is a bargaining. So what do you mean by never coming back? Right. So, the Bodhisattvas noble being who has almost no afflictive emotions, but that keep coming, right, back to the samsara and the desire realm, the form realm, not formless realms. So, and what makes them continuously born in it? If that is not propelled by the afflictive emotions, what is the cause that continues to be born in samsara? So then there's a ninji wonkiness, out of great compassions, out of their kind of promise for the sentient beings. And they are always dedicated to be continuously existing with samsara being. So I think this is why the Bodhisattvas kind of, they use the metaphor for the Bodhisattvas like a lotus. Lotus, they're always born in the mud, but never touched by mud. It's very clean. So the Bodhisattva, no being, is constantly coming back and born in the samsara, but never touched with any kind of defect of the samsaric.
So there's arhats with and without residue, right? With and without. Somehow I'm pretty sure I heard. I don't know. Maybe I better not say who I think said this, but this is my recollection.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if someone is an arhat, they kind of, I don't know how to put it, they kind of hang around for eons in some state until maybe some bodhisattva helps them progress further. That, I mean, it almost sounded to me like it was like almost like a disembodied state. Like they hang around, almost like the gods, hang around in this state of meditation, and it's kind of very hard to wake them up and say, there's something more to become fully enlightened.
Yeah.
And is that correct or not?
Yes, in some sense that, the arhats, there's kind of, strongly attached or addicted to the peace that they experience. And then only they can motivate to continuously go on the path for the enlightenment is the Buddha. So Buddha can encourage them or motivate them. And then they kind of listen to the Buddha and try to generate the great compassions and bodhicittas. And that takes long time because there's so much strong habit, kind of almost the addiction to the peace, remaining in the peace. So
is that a desire?
Huh?
Is that addiction considered a desire? Is that addiction a state of desire?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it is. It is. It's obviously it is desire, but it's not a delusional desire. So delusional desires and desires, even the desire, I always think that even the Buddha has a strong desire. So that's why they never kind of, Avalokiteshvara this, the generous segments, never closing eyes because of the desire, right, to helping sentient beings, the desire to wishing all the time, every moment, and for sentient beings. So the wish is desire. Compassion is the desire.
So if they're in this state of, let's call it for the sake of conversation, uncontaminated desire, because it's not delusional.
Yeah.
They're in this state of uncontaminated desire. They're not, I mean, after they die, they're not in the human body. Where the heck are they? They're not in the formless realm. They're not in the form realm. They're not in the desire realm. So where the heck are they?
These hacks are in the peace.
Is that a state of non-duality, or is it? Yeah, that sounds like it's a state of non-duality, kind of undifferentiated.
Now, I think in that regards, we need to talk about what does that mean of Ram? So Ram is the kind of condition. Yeah, your existing condition is the Ram. So when you're in the Pardo, when you're in a human being or animal or formless Ram, formless or form Ram, or what called ghost Ram, or if the Ram is the existing conditions, how you exist. So the existing condition for the Arhat without residue is their own Ram. They're existing, they're constantly experiencing kind of totally focusing and remain in the peace forever. Like eons and eons, they're just that. It's not necessarily you can find in the physical area like North America or India, where there is no where you can find their kind of their realm of existing. So they still exist. So
is that a non-dual state?
Kind of a non-dual state, but these are direct perceptions. So what makes them kind of so into this peace, as some says, because of the lack of the great compassions. From the beginning, their path is they always have a fear. So they always try to, they always have a kind of desire to not wanting any suffering. So not wanting, kind of, avoiding suffering or not wanting suffering at all. So that really pretty much against the Bodhisattva's path. So Bodhisattvas, they see the quality in the suffering.
So that sounds like a state of aversion. There's an aversion to suffering, and if there's an aversion to suffering, then they're still in a dualistic state.
Yeah, so they really don't like any suffering. They don't want to hear the suffering. Yeah. So the Bodhisattvas is, because of the suffering, there's the compassions. Because of the suffering, there's a purification. Because of the suffering, there's the encouragement. Because of the suffering, and there is, effort, joyous effort. So the suffering is not the subject to abandon. So this is why from the Four Noble Truths, when it comes to the suffering, Buddha says, suffering to understand. Origin of the suffering to abandon. So Buddha did not say the suffering to abandon from the beginning of the teaching. Suffering to understand what is the cause of the suffering. When you see the cause of the suffering, that cause has to be abandoned, not the suffering itself.
So have they abandoned the cause?
Huh?
Have our hearts abandoned the cause of suffering?
Yes. So abandon the cause. The afflictive emotions are the cause of the suffering. So they abandon the afflictive emotions. As a result of that, and lacking of compassion to take up the suffering of others, they prefer to stay focused in the peace. So because of the too long staying into the peace, and they don't want, right, to awake from that peace and think about others' suffering and try to, generating bodhisattvas. So it takes a lot of effort to reborn in the Bodhisattva's path. So like there's Mayana Sutra, so this is ordinary being who newly generated bodhicitta, the ordinary being, and an arhat who started generating bodhicitta. So ordinary being can go faster than arhat, because arhat is a strong habit of this, the addictions. So they're constantly going back to the peace and again and again.
Okay, explain to me why, if a bodhisattva is in a non-dual state, an advanced bodhisattva, 6 bhumi or above, I guess it is, or above 6 bhumi, I forget exactly which it is. Why would an advanced bodhisattva have the desire to help others? Because the whole idea of self and other is a duality. In other words, it seems there's still some awareness of self and other. Otherwise, why would you come back to help others?
Yeah.
Other exists only because self exists.
Self?
Other exists only in relationship to self. Other exists.
No. I heard that other exists in the south. Did you say other exists in the south?
South. Then we have to talk about north.
Oh, God.
Other exists only in relationship to self.
Yeah.
And that is still, it seems to me, seems to me that's still duality. You're still, if you're thinking of other and self, you're still looking at things dualistically.
Yeah.
So if a bodhisattva comes back to help others, there seems to be a contradiction, because on the one hand, he's in a state of non-duality, and yet he's coming back to help others, which only exist in relationship to self, which is dualistic.
Yeah.
There seems to be a basic contradiction there.
I think, for example, when you are wearing sunglasses, with sunglasses, you see white. If the sunglasses is black, right? You see white things is not white as it is. But when you take off the glass and you can see it white. So do you live in a contradiction? So I say, if I wear sunglasses, I see this white thing is not that white. If I take off the glass, I can see it's white as it is. So does that mean I have a confusion? My door is not white. When I wear a glass, my door is not white. When I take off the glass, the door is white. So I have no confusions. So similar, the Bodhisattvas, duality and non-duality is that both are the reality. So if the duality is the reality, does not mean non-duality is wrong. If non-duality is the ultimate truth, does not mean duality is not real or not exist. So therefore we call relatively existing. So the duality, Bodhisattvas, when they open their eyes, look at the color, with this eye, you see the duality. There is a color that I can point it with my finger. There is white, there is orange. But from the realization, this is the color that I see is no separate, no different from my eye sense power. Color that I see is no different from the space. Color that I see is no different from the light. So I have no confusions. The color may exist some way by itself independently. But still, with this eye, right? With this eye, I can see the color outside of my eyes. So they're both a reality. So, for example, looking at the mirage, you can see, oh, the mirage is very, very much kind of seems to be there as the water. And at the same time, you have realizations, this is the mirage. Mirage has no water. So knowing mirage has no water does not stop you to appear the water in the mirage. This is not like a kind of, if you know the apple is the apple and it cannot be orange. If the, well, so this is not like two totally two opposite things. It's kind of relatively. So non-duality means ultimately, objectively not found separations. Duality means subjectively finding the separate. So subjectively existing does not harm on the objective. Objectively not finding duality is not harmful to the subjectively kind of, appearing the separate phenomena. Right? So how much you have convictions, you know the mirage has no water, but still when you see the mirage, it seems looks like there's water. So the duality and non-duality is not black and white. So that's why we say always true truth, right? So so there's no confusions. Bodhisattvas live in contradictions. Bodhisattvas entertained by those dualities, is enjoying the dualities, and because of the non-duality perception.
What about arhats? Are they only stuck in one half of the two truths, or they also see things as they are subjectively at the same time they're in a state of peace?
So in the Prasangic school, the understanding of the with residue and without residue means not appearing any conventional phenomena, totally single-pointedly focus on non-duality as they in the Prasangic school understood as a non-residue. So when it come out in this single-pointed meditations, while they're eating and talking and walking, is a duality with residue. So the Prasangic schools, that is the residue, another is non-residue.
So they're in kind of one half of the two truths.
Yeah,
they're dwelling in the one half.
It's like one half of the one half of the egg, one piece of it, so they can join, right? So half egg does not disapprove another half egg. Otherwise, you cannot have full egg. So one half of the egg proves there's another half of the eggs.
So I don't know if you could still make a scrambled egg or not. So the Prasangic residue and non-residue means, right? If you are totally single-pointedly, directly perceiving the emptiness, like your mind become milk and water mixed together. So at that time, without the residues, no conventional, no duality appearance. So when you are not single-pointedly focusing on emptiness, and you still have the realization of emptiness very strong and very effective, at the same time, you are seeing colors, hearing the sound. So you with that arhats, with residue, because the duality is still
existing. So the duality, non-duality is as not two opposite things. One exists, another does not exist. Right. So active cause and simultaneous. So this is from the Vibhashika school, Abhidhammas, right? Active cause, Cheju, it's called the Cheju. Simultaneously cause and effect, they're simultaneously affecting each other or causing each other or benefiting each other. So homogeneous is kevanyamba. Cause, like rice seed cause the type of the sprout, the rice only, not the orange, not the barley. So the homogeneous cause was like that. So concomitant cause, Tsumba Demathagens. Tsumba Demathagen means now, like from the clay to the vase, from the steel to the spoon. So from the earring that when you destroy it and make the bracelet. So it's a concomitant cause, the similar type. So and pervasive and conditions. So here's the pervasive condition, kundu. So kundu doa means, this is like more towards the actions, the karma. So kundu gu means the actions which are certain to give rise the result, like non-virtuous actions, has the potential or the certainty to give rise negative result. Virtuous actions has the is the certain to give rise the positive result. So that's called pervasive and a ripening cause. So ripening cause, namigyu. Now namigyu is a ripening cause and pervasive cause is very similar. Kundru means, for example, in this life, to prolonging this life or being successful in this life is caused by pervasive, like small action, the virtuous action that you're continuously doing, right? The practice with generosities, the patience, this can all help you in the next life. You're more successful, more more access to improve yourself, right? And then the ripening cause means now the karma, which is deciding the way to born, right? So way to born, like animal or kind of or the higher human being or the God beings. So sometimes the pervasive cause which can help you to succeed in your life, for example, generosity, practice with generosity. So if you're born in a human being, you may find yourself more successful, right? More healthy, more live longer, more access to find the medicines and those health conditions. And, if this practice with generosity is not associated with ripening cause, if you have karma to be born in the animal realm, but at the same time, now this practice with generosity, action with generosity, It's not going to help you in a human being. It may help you in animal dharma. So sometimes some animals are more strong, more powerful, right? More kind of more happier. Some animals, they're hard to find the food, right? There's more chances to die hunger. So the pervasive cause and the ripening cause is two different things. One is determining where to be born. One is it become the conditions to make you more successful, make you more able to find the conditions, better conditions.
Which kind of raises a question. To me, if a bodhisattva has kind of cleared away against an advanced bodhisattva, all these negative causes and conditions, they've been exhausted. Then why are some gurus, who presumably are high lamas, they live short lives, some live long lives, even sometimes, as in the case of, I forget this Rinpoche was considered Karmapa's right-hand man, the one who said he wanted to be a doctor, even kind of parted from the Dharma, it seems, it appears. And he said, I no longer want to be restricted by all this stuff. Why don't all these people just see things very clearly and live long lives if the causes and conditions have been exhausted and they're or maybe and they're such advanced beings? That's a kind of a loaded question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's loaded and very dark. I couldn't see anything. So it's not clear.
I can't see anything.
So
I'll admit that.
Can you more kind of make it more clear? Lama who's it's not clear to me. Yeah, Lama Tsongkapha, the biography. Lama Tsongkapha, I think when he was maybe 25 or 30, around 30, so he has a strong desire to go to India. And then there's Chandrakirti, the great masters, one of the great masters. And Lama Tsongkapha went to him saying, I have really desire to go to India. And this Lama has a vision. He can direct vision of the Vajrapani. And that Lama says, if you really go to India, so you have the potential, you can be like join in monastery, like Bodh Gaya's the monastery, you can be abbot, but you live very long. I mean, you won't live long. You have short life. If you continuously stay in Tibet, so you may live long. So that can help more people. So, sometimes there's different conditions that can allow you to live longer or shorter. And from the Nagarjuna stories, Nagarjuna says, when he born, and the astrology predict that this boy will die in up to 2 weeks or something. So there is nothing we can do. This is how he born. So, and their family, my father and mother says, so we cannot see his death. So they asked their servant to take this boy, take away for long, far, far away, so they don't want to see the death of their son. So the servant took the baby, and then they met. There's one of the saint, Saraha. The Saraha says, so in that case, you just give me this baby. And then Saraha took the baby, and he did a lot of rituals, and that sustained maybe 2 years, 5 years. And when he became the 12, 13, 15, and the Saraha give the instructions, meditations, and then he practiced the deities. So the Nagarjuna by himself, he's prolonged his life for a long, long time, many years. So there's this is like when you already bought the ticket to go to somewhere to tours, and then you have a ticket to go to that place. Now how you really kind of how you spend your time. You want to spend more time to spending more money and go around, or you want to just stay in one place and spend less, right? So it depending on your account. So sometimes you have not much money to spend, but you want to stay 1 month, but you don't have much to explore in the different places. So this is like the different condition. So the condition that can allow you to buy the ticket to go to their place, and another condition that helps you to enjoy and more kind of possibilities. So that's why pervasive conditions and what is it called? Another one, and ripening cause. So ripening cause is only playing that. So where to go, determining, right? Is a plane ticket. Ripening cause, pervasive cause is the varieties. There's so many. So the health conditions, and then livelihood, and friends, the environments, and the relations. So these are small costs. There's so many. And then you see Bodhisattva meant Mongol Putra. So Mongol Putra, so he is the Arhat. He died. He was kind of killed by beating. He is the Arhat. There must be another cause. And one of the Arhat, he died with thirsty. So, and there's another Arhat. So when he returned to his home, and his his brothers, and they think he's coming back to his the wealth, or he's coming back to claim, and they send the our soldier to kill him. So there is no suffering due to afflictive emotions. There is the death, uncertainty death, that caused by another cause. So it's very, very, complicated when it comes to the law and cause and effect, how there's functioning.
Pervasive is the one that determining.
No, the ripening.
Ripening
cause is determining. Yeah. So to born in the animal realm or human being or God realm or wherever, Refuting cause. And the pervasive is a variety of cause. So that's why it says, if you have practiced, the virtues, action like generosity in this life, but you have committed the karma to born in the lower realm. So this practice with generosity, the virtuous actions, may help you in animal realm. And if the Refuting conditions to be born in a human being, so this action may help you in the human realm. So this is like credit card. Which market you go, so you can use that. Yeah. Sometime, during the Buddha Shakyamuni, when he was, normally it seems that any problems, when the Buddha presents, all the problems solve. And there's one occasions in the presence of the Buddha, and somewhere many Shakya killed by the enemy. And then they asked Buddha, what happened to this? Right. So you are here, and this is not really helping those peoples. And Buddha told the stories, and he remembered many lives. So, and one of his life, he, in Jataka story there's maybe it's like, he was a leader or something, and then someone who's going to harm, then he could not stop. He did not let them know there's someone coming. So he's just being quiet. So Buddha says, because of that karma is kind of playing right now with me. So karma, the disintegration of the karma, or the cessation of the karma is not a dissipate, never dissipate. Action always recorded somewhere. And non-Buddhist school thinks that these are all done by God, Bhagavan. So Bhagavan remember everything, what you have done. So he is always, was very nosy. Just checking up what you're doing, what you have said, every small actions. He recorded that, and he will, according to your actions, and he will, decide what to punish, where to punish. So the
Lord of Death, Yama, it said, is like a scale with black stones and white stones. Count your black stones and your white stones. Kind of what's your account after you die? If you don't go straight to hell, because then there's no accounting. But for maybe most of us in that bardo, there's some kind of accounting.
Yeah, then a lot of the death in his house, there must be too many pebbles. Sometimes
sounds like
my pebbles and your pebbles mixed together. So Yama confused. Oh, whose stone is this?
But my point is, Yama sounds almost like a Bhagavan. He's deciding what's going to happen. He's looking at your karmic account.
Yeah, according to the Buddha Palita and the Chandrakirtis in the Arya, they don't really accept there's a Yama.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't agree on that. And this is necessary to tell the story to, people who has no access to study, no educations, and just give them an idea, right? Mm-hmm. There's something, right? All the actions that can be recorded. So by story. So in the reality, there is no such lot of the death or the yama. So if he is the sentient being or Bhagavan, if he is one of the sentient being, or he is a human being or God beings, if a God being or human being, he likes something that he really like very much. So we can offer that. So
I'm not
bragging.
I'm gonna give up this point quite so easy.
Yeah. If you like incense, we can just send him the incense. If you like flowers, we can send him flowers.
They doesn't want me debating here.
If you like New York steaks, we can send
Well, during the black hat ceremony of the Karmapa, it said, if you were there for the black hat ceremony, maybe it's not as simple as I think, but if you were there from the black hat ceremony, maybe there's a karma to be there. I don't know, but I can't believe everyone who goes is a nice human being who is very careful. Maybe they are, but I kind of doubt it. That he will escort you. I'm not sure where. Escort you to the pure realm, I guess. Maybe escort you directly to a pure realm. That again has this flavor of, it sounds like avoiding karmic repercussions in some way.
Yeah, I can say if you happen to come here and visit, and you are able to see the kind of Tara statue, then I can say you will be next life you're sure in a human being. So the people may come, but from my side, it's not 100% lie. By looking at the statue of the Buddha, by remembering the Buddha, there's some positive karma. So I can still say, if you come here and see the Tara, then you will be you will be free from the lower realm. So there's some parts true, some not necessarily. If you have no faith, if you have no understanding, if you continue doing the wrong actions, just by looking at Tara, it won't help you. But this story may benefit some people. Some people, right? They have no no wisdom, but they're strong faith. So they're saying, "Oh, I want to see the Tara." So I just do the prostration. So just making connection, generating genuine faith in the Tara. So for that particular person, I'm saying the truth. So the person who is continuously wrongdoing, and then coming here to see the Tara, and not going to help. But still, I'm not going to lie, and I haven't lied to him. So I say there is chances, there is the condition, right? So yeah, this is the language, the human. This is the way human, one human to another human help. So some people in the video, this says, "Oh, I use this, and that to reduce my kind of 50 kilos." So loss. So maybe true a bit for the individual. He did something that really lose the weight, but not necessarily help to others. But we can kind of give the credit or the respect to his motivations. So there's so many stories though. Those in old time is really benefit, profoundly impact on the people to have the idea of the concept of law and cause and effect, to have a faith in the Bhagavan, to have interest to do the meditations. But whole stories is not necessarily to be true as it is. So that's why sometimes the lie is the education. So that educate people. Yeah. If I stay in the place that people have kind of, have a culture to lie each others, so I'll be more cautious. So, so, so when you go to India, see everybody holding their bags. So that is the education. So no one is holding the bag on the back. Mm-hmm. They're just keeping the front. It's just so these are the knowledge from right. It's the wrong doing. I saw both guys in circumambulations, the people who bring the bag, the small wallet and bags, they always hold the front. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That there is no absolute bad thing. It's an homogeneous and a concomitant, pervasive, and a ripening cause. These are the 6 causes they assert. So particularly this Vasubandhu's text mentions 6 causes. Nagarjuna mentioned 4 conditions. Right? So the 6 causes, including in the 4 conditions. And then, yeah, in the Vaibhashika school have the story that, active cause. So what is the active cause? And there's this active cause means cheju, so they call cheju. And they kind of, they, like, for example, and they, in the kingdom, their particular kingdom, the king was so, his tax is very high. Always, that really makes it very difficult for the people. His citizen, right? And the one day, king decided now 100 to 50. So everybody says our king is so kind, right? So before he was taking $100 in tax, 100. Now he's reduced to 50. So people think he's compassion. Actually, he's still taking 50 from you. Right? So that's called the active cause. So there is some kind of, people find more comfortable and more kind of, more comfortable because he's reducing the 100 from the 100 to the 50. So these are, we say, is an active cause. Yeah, maybe I'll stop here. Any questions? So the cause of the conditions is kind of, here's the goal to teach, explain about the cause and the conditions is to know that the actual cause for your peace, your happiness is you have to generate, to produce that within you. You don't want to hope someone give it to you. Right. So when you have a faith in the Buddha, with that blessings, you find peace. And you also need to know is the active cause is because of the presence of the Buddha or present the image of the Buddha, and real cause is your faith. Because your faith is bringing that peace and happiness to you. An objective cause, and then immediately preceding cause. Objective cause means now when you are single-pointed meditating on the something, the object that you are single-pointed meditating is the objective cause. Immediately preceding conditions, because of the meditating on a single-pointedly abiding in the object, that reduce or that stops the previous consciousness that disturbing you or distracting you. So the end of the previous consciousness, that's distractions, is the condition, immediate preceding condition for the mind that abiding, being able to abide on object. Like eye, the color is the objective conditions, eye consciousness experiencing, right? And then eye consciousness being able to experience and perceive and engage in the color is because of the air is not distracted. Your mind is not going after the air consciousness. Your mind is not going after any kind of imaginations. If your mind is too distracted in imaginations and the sound, you may not be able to perceive or recognize the color and the size and how beautiful this is. So you see, the cause and the condition that brings happiness is within yourself. So this is why this whole kind of way to find the peace and happiness is the, idea that is provided or kind of, explained or taught by the Buddha. So that's what we call a teacher. Tsongkaphas, right? So we don't say giver of peace, right? Peace giver or something like that. Yeah. No questions? Chanju Simja Rinpoche, Majeba na Jejuji, Jeba Nyamba, Mevanya, Kondo Kondo Pebbles, Tonya Tawa Rinpoche, Majeba na Jejuji, Jeba Nyamba, Mevanya, Kondo Kondo Pebbles. Pama Simjan Tamja, Dadan Denjuji, Yendo Tamja Tado Tonga, Chanju Simba, Kanda Sushu, Tada Gunja Molom Jujuji, Karera Boko Vishima, Pendan Dewa, Malu Jumane, Jeresawa, Tinzi Jazu, Shabe, Sede Badu Denjuji.
May the precious body mind, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realize emptiness, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Chandrakirti Gyatso, bring in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much. Thank you.